All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another exciting episode of Let's Talk Real Life with Miss Nada Manning. I'm your co-host, Coach Vernon Garrison, and we have a beautiful, beautiful show today. I'm really excited about this topic. I probably feel like I could do the show by myself, so I'm gonna have to watch out because the topic is hot. Topic is I won't even say no more about the topic, but we are on Awesome Radio Network, WECU 1570 and 107.5 FM here in the Winterville, Greenville area, and then 1450 AM, 102.3 in the New Bern area, WYLTLP 100.3 FM in the Rocky Mount area. Thank you so much for listening to us on the Spanish dial, WBISLP 106.9 over in Winterville. We appreciate it. We love you guys to life. And by all means, we're on GPAT 23, Facebook and YouTube, and Awesome Radio. We need you guys, need your feedback. We want to make these topics centered towards our life here in this community. So please like, share, make comments. We need and would love to be in season with you guys. All right. Well, let's see about this season as I introduce Miss Nada Manning, ladies and gentlemen. Hello.
Hi. Hello. 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 And this tis the season. Tis the season as we approach Christmas Day. Mm-hmm. And it's my prayer that you all will be able to chime in and listen to what is going to be said and be able to digest it and apply it to your lives as we talk real life. I am your host, Nada Manning. Coach, you have done a wonderful introduction as usual. And I just want to thank the Lord for you and for the show and for this opportunity as we end this yet another year coming to an end. By the time we come on again, it'll be New Year's Eve. The absolute last day of this 2025 year. So moving forward, I want you all to focus on reassurance beyond understanding. Reassurance beyond understanding. I'm talking to you out of Matthew 1:20, where Joseph, the son of David, along with Mary, as we all know it, Mary gave birth to Jesus, and Joseph is saying, nope, I don't know how we're going to do this. It was supposed to be Joseph's baby, but she ended up getting pregnant prior to their engagement, their interaction with one another to produce a baby. For those of you who are listening who may know the story about the son, Jesus, and Mary being his mother, and Joseph indirectly I won't say it wasn't, it was very much appropriate because Jesus was involved in it. But that reassurance come out of Matthew because that was not David. Joseph did not understand that to be his child. And Mary did all she could to convince him that it's going to be their baby, even though it wasn't the norm. Well, this baby wasn't going to be the norm. This baby was going to be the savior of the world. But Joseph didn't know that. I don't know if Mary knew that either at that time. But she knew she was pregnant. So moving forward, reassurance beyond understanding. I want to bring that into today's times. And I wanted to give you that brief synopsis of where this came from in this particular scripture. There are times in our lives today, even today, that particular interaction has not occurred in today's time because I think that would be a bit much for the men of today. Unlike back in the day before Christ, BC time, They're not going to understand. You coming to me and telling me that you're pregnant, and I know I haven't done anything with you for you to be pregnant. No, you're going to have to do some explaining, ma'am. You have to explain, but it is yours, but it is yours. You know how some of these women are. I'm a woman, but I've never done anything like that to accuse a man and knowing that it wasn't his, or we haven't done anything. But I'm just saying there are times today where that does happen, and they got to go to court, and they got to spill it all out, and got to do the DNA, all of that. You all know the stories. So reassurance beyond understanding. Joseph had to understand eventually, and he did understand eventually how it all came to pass. The reason I want to apply this to today's time is because, well, today meaning this season, Christmas time, is because we're talking about the birth of Christ. And I just want to apply it to every days, not sounding all churchy. I want it to sound real life, like stuff does happen, and we do get accused of certain things, and we do need to be told and explained ourselves how things came about. Sometimes we get over fine, and sometimes we don't do so well. So I want to say that as we move forward with this particular topic, understanding. Sometimes some of us don't quite get it on certain things. We just simply don't understand, and we need some further explanation. We needed some basis of how decisions are made when it comes to being reassured. I think I have said this to Coach a couple of times about other topics, probably maybe a couple of years back or a few months back. Sometimes some of us need reassuring of what's happening. Where do we stand in certain scenarios? How does this or that apply to what's going on from what we can see with our naked eye? We don't always understand it. So our naked eye, in many cases, just don't reveal what really is. But we want to get it. We don't always get it. We walk around in awe and in disbelief. Yeah, that's a big word, disbelief. We just don't. Joseph just did not believe that that was his child. Joseph just couldn't understand. That's not the way he was taught. That's not how you make a baby. Where in the world? What are you doing? What? So it becomes a problem in some of our eyes when stuff like similar, not like that, but other stuff that can come up. Some things like what for example, let's say, I don't know, not necessarily in that kind of relationship, but maybe in parent, let's say parents. I recently heard, and it's probably been all over the news, about this young man who killed his parents. And I think I heard just as of today where he was actually convicted. Now he's convicted that he really did kill his parents. It's been like the past week or two, I think. Anyway, I heard today that, yeah. So now, how does that tie into reassurance? How does that tie into understanding? I think a lot of times when we don't understand something, and even when we do, I think mental illness fall into that. With this particular case, with this young man who actually took his parents' life, obviously there was some mental issues there. From what I've learned of the story, he had been in rehab for 15 times. 15 times this young man was in rehab, and it didn't help. So it leaves us other parents out here to say, well, I just don't understand. What? And you went to rehab that many times, the parents of this young man. You sent this boy to rehab that many times, and somewhere along the line, it didn't work. Where does the reassurance come in? Or is there? At this point in his particular life, how can anything be reassured? The fact is he did it. And I could be wrong, but it was my understanding that he actually admitted it eventually, or all the evidence pointed to him and he was just guilty. Apparently he didn't deny it. So parents of similar situations, me, you, coach, all of us who are parents, and our children seem to have a tendency to go south sometime, not necessarily that drastically, but we parents need to be reassured sometime. What is going on with you, son, daughter? Why is this happening? Do we always understand? No. So my point on that is, if we need to be convinced is a good word. And after being reassured, that tells me that, yeah, okay, I'm convinced now. I've been reassured that this is what's going on with this one and that one and the other. That's just a general idea of what this reassurance come into play to help us understand. And being reassured beyond understanding. Sometimes we just go along and wait it out. I think that's what Joseph did. He just waited it out, and eventually he was beginning to understand that it was not the natural act for Mary to become pregnant with the birth of Jesus. So when we look at the whole scenario in our own lives, and each one of us have a story to tell, some of us have a gazillion stories to tell, where we just need some reassurance about certain things that's going on. And because we don't always get that reassurance, it can lead to a mental issue because we are confused. Nobody is helping us understand. Coach, you have a comment? Because I wanted to go into the character of a person. Character does matter as we become individuals to be reassured about a thing. Our character plays a large role in how, when, and if we understand. Sometimes some of us don't ever understand. We don't ever get it. And you ask yourself, well, why is that? Is that because no one bothered to take the time to explain to us? Like right now in this Christmas season, a whole lot of mental stuff going on. Well, it's going on year round, but usually around Christmas time, holidays, these two major holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, where people are feeling some kind of way. Some of them are happy and some of them are not so happy. So you in your mind, you get emotional, some of us get physical, but that mental thing, it just tears us to no end. And all we're doing is asking for some help. And coaches oftentimes talking about mental health, what I want to say, mental health, helping. What's the word, coach? When you have your mental coaching, get some help. In other words, to put it down plain, get some help with your mental issues. Go do this, go do that. Talk to this one, talk to that one. That don't always work, as it was with this young man that killed his parents. Evidently, all them 15 times that he went for some type of psychiatric help did not help him. So you ask yourself, what is missing there? He was not reassured in any way, shape, or form, because before he did this act, I'd like to think that, and I don't know the whole story, but I'd like to think that he actually thought about what he was going to do. It didn't sound like he did it on a whim. Like, okay, I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, wake up, all of a sudden I'm going to go kill my parents. It may have happened that way. I don't know. But this reassurance, this getting some understanding about why certain things happen the way they do, why people do the things they do. When you know better, you're supposed to do better. Okay. When a person know about a thing that's going on in someone's life, if they care anything at all about that individual, it takes more than a phone call. It takes more than just saying a few words here or there. It helps. Yes, it helps. but it all is not. Sometimes it's not all. It's
Let,
not all.
let me let me jump in right here.
Okay.
A couple of things that just came to the surface. When you are having a mental health issue or you are having insecurities, I love this topic, reassurance. But we don't see reassurance and mental health as a commodity. We pick our sins, if you will. We don't consider it a sin not to install confidence and reassure and ease our insecurities. Those things are not, they don't have they have a lot of monetary value now because you got a lot of mental health businesses, but those are just practical applications to coming in, seeing a therapist, or coming in and getting counseling. We have some more attention in the church than we used to, but the African American or American African man is only been receiving mental health services for just a little over 50 years. Just a little over 50 years. That's like my lifetime. So we still have a lot of traumas. We still have almost no ways of conflict resolution in our family structure. And the other part is we still have a lot of insecurities that we battle. A lot of us don't make enough money. A lot of us, our triggers lead our life because we struggle. A lot of us pray and ask God to give us the things that we need, not because that's what He wants us to do, but because we feel like that's all we got. So having enough space to share love and to mend each other, to not just be there one day, but to be there every day. Because if this leads me to my other point, uh, if I look at this defining paragraph here in uh, that I just looked up about reassurance and what does it mean in love from that perspective, verbal and emotional, physical confirmation that a partner feels secure, valued, loved, easing insecurities through consistent actions like listening, showing affection, affirming commitment, acting as an emotional hugs, building trust and intimacy. Guess what? Our biological feelings, our biological chemicals, the dopamine, uh, the lack of dopamine, our physical appetites, and our, if you will, clinical depression. A lot of us have traits of that. I know I had been diagnosed myself with it, and it just woke me up. I'm like, how in the world? What? It's like, well, there's nothing wrong with you, Vern. It's just that your your chemicals are imbalanced. That's why you feel like a sinking ship every day, and it's involuntary. So
And
even if
so,
I
how do you
provide
fix?
you,
How do you
even if,
fix?
well, one is education. You got to know that what depression is. You got to know that it doesn't start just today. It starts
Yes.
months before. But
Yeah.
my point is, and then I can work with you on going back with this. The point is, even if you're not in a good place physically, food, clothing, shelter, security, um, and the likes, even if I provide you with verbal, emotional, and physical confirmation and all those things, you are not going to feel it. You're going to feel like you're in a deficit. So that's what I'm saying. And you've been saying it all. Mental health matters. So even if I deliver the goods, you're not going to feel it. If I already don't trust you, just like you were just saying, if they had any kind of marital issues, now all of a sudden she pregnant. Oh no. In today's time, we gonna get a DNA right now. You gonna tell me, oh, that's God's baby? No, that's Larry Jones down the street. That's the guy you were talking to at church the other day. The way we live in society right now, if you told me you were carrying the Son of God in your womb, I just don't know if I could handle that one. I, I don't know. So a
That's
lot
why
of these things,
beyond
yeah,
understanding.
yes, beyond understanding. So there are people who are doing what you're saying. There are people who are not doing. We're not here for certain family members at Christmas because of rifts, because of people have denounced each other, and some people are stressing now because they don't even want to go to the Christmas gathering because they have certain feelings and they feel some type of way. And until it's over, they're gonna just be in a mindset and not reachable. But back to your call and representing the people that really need more reassurance right now. I'm not saying we got to totally lean on God, but at the same time, you got to lean on God because if I step in and I start saying, yeah, I got this, I'm going to pay the bills, I'm going to get our car back, I'm going to promise 3 years now to build you that house that you want, or I'm going to babysit the kids more so you can have more time. As soon as I step in and I let you hear those things that bring in this emotional hug, if you will, the sooner I'm going to fail. And so I don't want it to be conditional because when some people get the things they want, because they didn't get all of them, that it's the brain, that turns that on and off. And those are called emotions. And we should not be leading our lives by emotions because they're not reliable. Now they're fun to have. When I get excited, if I see you or if you see, I think the biggest problem, one time I was not excited to see my then wife. And she never forgot the look on my face that I was not excited to see her. That was just so people got to know just the look on your face can minister to someone. And that hurt her so bad that I was not. Because, why? Because I was thinking about other stuff and she needed something then. That's all the way. It won't money. It won't, I hadn't done nothing wrong. It was just that I was not overly joyed. So I know what you're saying, but I just don't want the listeners to put all of their stake in me saying, I'm here for you forever. Um, all of the things that can happen, they're good. But as soon as the person gives and shares with you, the next day you're gonna need the same thing. And I tell young people that are getting married, the person that you're marrying is not totally responsible for your happiness, but they are totally responsible for creating an environment where you can reach the best person that you can be, even through God. Because as soon as you put all your stake in that person, especially men, I'm just going to speak for men that lose themselves. And I don't want to change the subject of tonight, but if you lose yourself, that other person's just got you total control, whether you're happy or whether you're sad. And I've lost myself before. So I don't want men to just give themselves away and tell their wife, you're my everything. I couldn't live without you. You can't live without you because without her, we already know that because that's what God said. It ain't good for man to be alone. So you already know I'm broken. You already knew this. And you already know you're so powerful, you can emasculate me at any time. So I think that this reassurance and just think, now I'm gonna go back to the human side like I do because I'm getting too serious. If you were my wife and you told me you were pregnant in the spirit or through the spirit, and then I left you, let's say Michael Jordan was my son and I just found out. Well, Shaquille O'Neal was my son and I just found out. Boy, would I feel some kind of way if I found out that my son was the savior of the world and I didn't accept what you said. And I didn't trust you when you said that I'm born, that the child was born of the spirit and a divine purpose that would make, most proud. I don't know if you call Joseph a stepdad or a husband, God the Father is the father. But yeah, I would feel some kind of way. And I would hope that fathers that do have children that are not theirs in the household would accept them. And but back to you. Did I share anything towards the urgency of people that need this emotional and reassurance beyond understanding? Cause I don't understand everything you need no way. That's one of men's broken parts. If we did, well, we wouldn't be getting divorced as quick as we get married nowadays in our community. Talk to me.
You did say something, and I'm trying to remember what it was a few minutes ago about, and I wanted to comment, but
My apologies.
I didn't have the opportunity. But something you said about what did you say? The idea of being, I don't know. I'm going to move on because I don't know what you said.
Okay. I know it will.
Anyway. So thank you for your input and understanding. And it's trying to come back to me, but it's not quite there yet. Something about the way that the women would respond to the individual, and some, I don't know. Anyway, let's move on. The idea of character matters. Let's focus on that a little bit.
Okay. Okay.
What's on the inside? I'm gonna put it in what everybody should relate to. Judging a book by its cover. Okay. What is on the inside? You, me, anywhere. A person can look a certain way on the outside, and on the inside, they are the complete opposite. Yes. What does that have to do with being reassured? Because we see what we see. My eyes are looking right at this person. And I said, okay, there's a nice package there. You know, everything looked fine on the outside. But when, like a blind date, I guess you can say. Yeah. When you finally you talk to this person on the phone back and forth probably a gazillion times. Sound great. Everything matches up. Okay, now it's time to meet you. Okay, when we meet, our eyes tell us something different than what we heard. Okay. Reassurance beyond understanding. Right. How can you look a certain way and talk completely different? Woo. Some understanding, some clarity need to be there. I don't get it. Now, when you're on a blind date, some folks would just blatantly come right out with it and be bold and say whatever's on their mind. But some of us are a little more reserved, and we just want to just take it a little bit at a time, step by step, baby steps. Okay, now I see what I see. And the person could either look better than expected or worse than expected. We just don't know. But when we see it, now we're trying to understand. Now we're trying to connect the dots with our eyes. We haven't started talking yet. I just see. Yeah. Let
me give you one indication of that. That's usually true in our social status, and when we wear our mask, our social mask, our uniforms, which is our clothing, our decoration, our name badges, our titles, all of those are some of the things that you're talking about. Our hair, our eyelashes now, our cosmetics, our aesthetics. But one clue for that will let you know that a person needs you more than you think, can be very deceiving. In a room, it's usually the loudest person. And to that degree is to the degree that measures their insecurities, their issue that they may be having.
Because they're loud?
Because they're crying out. They're actually projecting what they actually need. They're projecting.
Because
I'm
they're
sorry.
loud. Because they're loud.
The most talkative person, the most outgoing person that you can hear in a room, that's usually an indication that they need just that much more themselves.
Have you heard the expression that empty wagons make the most noise?
I haven't,
You have
but
not?
I can believe that. I have not, but that's a good analogy. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're saying that person that's loud, they need something. They're empty.
And so what they're doing is they're trying to, now I'm not saying everybody,
I
but I'm
know.
saying
I
that
know.
person could be compensated. That's one thing that you just mentioned. You're saying, what does your appearance have to do with this issue? So people can miss it when they're talking to someone that says, "Oh, I'm always fine. I'm blessed and highly favored." Now, they probably are blessed and highly favored. But what else is going on? They can have all the cars. They can have all, I hear some people that talk about, well, I got all my bills paid. Matter of fact, I'm trying to figure out where I'm going to invest my money. But here's what happened when I kept listening. I kept listening and I picked up low self-esteem. Because once you become materialistic, then you're materialistic. Some people so poor that all they got is money.
So where's the assurance there?
Where's the assurance at? When you see that if you're going to minister to them, then you go to work. Regardless of how they're acting, regardless of how they look, you stand there and you listen. And if you're gonna spend the evening with that person or you're gonna complete the conversation, whatever position you have in their lives, just know that if you're doing the same thing, you might need that same reassurance. If they're doing it, okay, so now you found the person that's the loudest in the room, right?
Yeah.
There's one indication is that they're the ones who need help. You just asked me if somebody looks good or somebody looks the way they look, how do you know if they need help? And I was saying it's a personality trait. That's just one. Not the person that you see necessarily sitting in the corner, because that could be me. I don't like to be the loudest person in the room all the time. I could sit over there and I could be just fine. Matter of fact, I enjoy myself. I don't want to say this in a bad way. I enjoy being by myself probably a little bit more than I enjoy being out with everybody else.
And the reassurance is?
Okay, now that's the subject of the show.
Right.
The reassurance is, if you were like that, if you were that loudest person, I'd stay with you a little longer. And I'd talk to you. How you doing? How you feeling? Yeah, I would start ministering to you.
To reassure them of confidence.
Right. And then you would actually give me feedback. How you doing? How's your job going? How's work going? You think people that millionaires and got a lot of money don't have problems paying bills? No, that's an assumption. They do. Their mortgage $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. They got 4 cars. They got the cash, but they're taking care of everybody in the family. So don't look at people. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the reassurance beyond understanding in that scenario that you just explained is the fact that you took time to go to that person, the loudest person in the room, because you could see from afar that they need extra attention. They need someone to help them through whatever it is that they're going through. Many times, not that they're going to open up and share everything, but the fact that somebody cared enough. So you are reassuring that individual that no, it's not all that bad, because whatever you want to say to the person. I was trying to connect the dots in your scenario with being reassured beyond understanding. You understood, but you might have been the only one in the room that understood. Why? Because you was over in the corner being quiet, observing everything that's going on, and there's that one person over there that's got everybody's attention.
Yes.
Loud.
Yes.
So let me go over there when the time is right. Let me go over there and approach this loud person and see what's going on. What's happening? How you doing? That that's the connection that I'm feeling here.
Yes,
Am I right?
that is. Let me give you another one that's entertaining. I was told a long time ago that the prettiest girl in the room, what we consider perfect, a 10, if you will, the prettiest girl in the room don't have the person she wants. She just got the bad boys. She just got the this. She just got the that. But she don't really have somebody that really loves her.
Okay.
And so she's still looking. So if
Okay.
you see a 10, one of the girls that's all popular, don't think that she's unapproachable, young men. If you feel like you can handle somebody that's a 10 that's gonna get all that attention. Now don't go trying to look for the what you call a high maintenance chick if you're not if you're a 5 and you consider her a 10, you're gonna feel insecure because she's more popular than you are. But I'm just staying on point here. When you said looks, that was just great because the person can have on a Santa Claus suit and be jolly and happy and giving out gifts and stuff and be more depressed. You got movie stars that you know that were like that. Jim Carrey, every role he plays, he's denounced him because he was just playing like he felt good. Robin Williams, who unalived himself. The happiest you can be sometimes for those highly intellectual, passionate, overworking people is when they're on stage and when they're on film. When they're not, they are in the dumps with millions and millions of dollars.
And that
So,
scenario with Robin Williams is definitely
yeah,
beyond understanding for
yeah,
a lot of people because
yes,
he was so bubbly and so outgoing and so, this and that and the other. And we got the impression that he was pretty much a happy dude.
yep.
But in all actuality, he wasn't all that happy. That was
If
the
you're
big.
a movie star, if you're a movie star, excuse me, if you're a movie star, there'd be 5 cars sitting out there waiting for you on the other side of the road, so they wouldn't be considered harassing you, waiting for you to come out of the house every day, and that would get old. So if you're talking about getting this attention, what you do with it, and can you feel it? That matters. It's lonely at the top. So me and you, with this level of clinical issues that we have from trauma in our lives, whether we were abandoned by our parents or we felt abandoned by our fathers, we're all trying to compensate for that. And I can't tax you for every negative feeling I have. We're all compensating for some type of trauma in our lives. And you can't tax everybody for that when you need help. But
Okay.
surely we can be honorable people when we need to, and we can let the word build us up when somebody else doesn't. Now that's I'm sorry, but there's usually only 3 or 4 people in our lives that's even qualified to do that. And you know that. And they ain't there when you need them. Jesus is the one that's gonna be there. I'll let you down somehow. My apologies to you. You want to
I
fight on the air? Come
no.
on, put your fist up and let's fight. Come on, jab.
Earlier you was talking about Jesus, what I couldn't think of earlier, what you
Oh,
just said just now. You had
yeah.
made a comment about something no one could understand, no one can help. I don't know what your word was, but it was pertaining to Jesus
Oh,
and the fact that I think you said some of us have to realize that yes, we need that additional help from other people. And if we are totally dependent on other people, then that's where we go wrong, that we won't ever
mhm.
make it or something like that, you said.
Yeah. I'll probably say something like that. Right,
And
right.
but the way you put it, I wanted to address it right then, and I had my mouth open to say something, but you wouldn't let me say it out.
I I
I'm like,
know. I was digging in deep man because my brain was doing some stuff. But yeah, it's not. I don't think it's fair. I think it's a reality, but I don't think it's fair.
I think that you were trying. I think what I got out of what you were saying was the fact that although some people, and we talk about circles all the time, some people will do well for us depending on who we are and who they are.
Yeah.
And some people will not do so well. So the reassurance come in. I'm trying to paraphrase what you were saying about not depending on people, but I thought you wanted to say not only do you not depend on people, but you have to depend on Christ. You have to depend on Jesus as well. And you made that comment as if to say, and I wanted to say right then, yes, we depend on Jesus. Yes, we have to put all our eggs in that basket, in Jesus' basket.
Yeah.
But we have to realize when we're doing that there are people out here that Jesus put on this earth to be used, to be his hands and feet and
That's
his
right.
ears.
That's right.
So as we select who it is that we want to be reassured by, I would say go to Christ first and ask him, who is it, Lord, that you want me to be interacting with at this point in my life? Because you already know what's going on, Lord. So I need you to help me to pick the person. That you choose the person. You point the person to me that will be most suitable for this time in my life to help me to be reassured about whatever it is that's going on in your life. You know what I mean? So that's the piece that I wanted to say to you earlier about your comment, to help us to understand at some point, because we are human beings, we're not supposed to understand everything. We'll never understand everything. But without Christ in our lives and him pointing us to the person that we need,
yes,
our chances of understanding is slim, because we can't do it on our own.
Let me say about the understanding. So that's how I was saying emotions are unreliable, because we're looking for peace beyond understanding. And where do you get that from? If the goal is to have peace beyond understanding, our human understanding, then that's spiritual. That's that's capital. So here's what'll happen to us when we get what we want and we don't understand that we have it. You know what some of us will turn around and say? We'll go to somebody else and say, what do you think about this? This happened to you. Or I want your opinion on it. And you're giving it away because you're asking somebody's opinion about what happened to you.
It's okay to ask others, but ask God first. That's my point.
I got you. And if you ask others
before you go jumping to talking to this one and that one and the other one,
yes,
Lord, who should I share this with? Because I don't want to go to the wrong person. You want to go to someone that can meet you halfway, someone that can understand, someone that can work with you, can be on your same mindset or similar anyway.
So what'll happen is
follow you.
You'll go to somebody that's not as emotional intelligent on that area. And you know the first thing they're gonna say? Now hear me out. Don't get me wrong when I say this now. You're gonna say, yeah, I was doing this, that, and the first thing that's on them that's gonna come out their mouth is, yeah, I had that feeling the other day too. And then what that'll do is nothing wrong with that, but they'll segue and start sharing their experience, and it'll subdue yours.
Now, with
yes.
that being said, and yes, you're right, that does happen.
Yes.
So that particular individual that's ready to go tell their story and take it and run with it.
Yeah.
What does that do to the individual that shared the story in the first place? Their mindset. That's why I say we should always pray first before we jump and leap on sharing anything with anybody, because our mindset and our way of thinking is not always the best way to do things. And it takes practice. It takes time to get to that mindset. There's nothing wrong with sharing, but just be mindful of who you're sharing it with, because some stuff, as we know, when it gets passed on down the line, it's not the way it was told in the first place. It all got changed up somewhere along the line. Words got put in there and words got taken out.
Here's what I'm saying, though. I'm not saying that's altogether wrong to share your experiences, because you already know that the other person's been through some things and you've been through some things. But sometimes it's judicial to say, who's talking here? You know,
That's why.
who's talking here? And if I share something with you, and then you go on, now I'm guilty of this. But as a professional mediator, if a judge sent me a case, I'm gonna open it up with some boundaries, and it's gonna be one person speak at a time, and then I'm gonna question that person to make sure that get all of their issues out and their emotions out. I'm not gonna let it will be later on, you guys will be able to talk at the same time. So why wouldn't it between you and I, if you say I got an issue and I have a problem, see, we can unalive people like this sometimes because we haven't listened to the whole story. And by the time we get done telling ours, you have already said, well, I ain't even gonna say the rest there.
And that's what, when you say unalive, that goes back to that scenario I gave you earlier about that young man killing his parents. He unalived his parents. Evidently, he had some issues going on that those professionals were not able to get to during those 15 times that he was in rehab. Somebody didn't get it. And so it is in life. So it is, well, this is real life, but so it is this is celebrity level, but so it is in regular folks. People don't always hear the whole story before they run with it. Or they don't present themselves as being really, really interested in the young man or whoever the person is at Christmas time. We're talking Christmas time here because this is a sad time for many people. Right?
Yeah. And one of the reasons it's a sad time is we're looking for happiness. We're looking for that spirit of Christmas. And you're searching for it in where you go. You're searching for it in giving gifts. You're searching for it in receiving gifts. We're searching for it. And what happens is you're up one moment, you're down one moment, you're up one moment. And with all the information and technology going on, we're competing with that. We're competing with a 24-hour news cycle. You can look at something on the news and you're depressed. You can look at something else on the news and you're excited.
So we just don't understand some of these waves. Waves mean WAVES, waves going up and down, in and out. We just don't understand it. And those that do.
My thing is don't cry too much and don't smile too much. Manage your smiles and your cries. The wheat let's make it scriptural. The wheat is growing with the tariffs, or the tariffs is growing with the wheat. It's right there. So I'm not making you seem crazy. You're not. The enemy is on the left side or the right side somewhere. So you are not hallucinating. There are things coming against us every single day through our devices, through cameras, through on the street out there.
So when we know better, we should do better. When we know that an individual, my point is, when we know that an individual is going through, it takes more than just a phone call or a word or two here and there, or it depends on the individual. It sometimes bottom line, it depends on the person. It requires more attention for an individual, depending on the individual and depending on the scenario.
Now, here's something I want to say that I was going to say early in the beginning of the show. Do you know that we transfer trauma physically, mentally, in our DNA, in our genetics? It's just almost like if I'm an unhealthy person mentally, I can pass it on. Usually mental health issues, now I always almost get in trouble for saying that. Usually mental health issues are passed on from the mother's bloodline. So the dad family might have a lot of mental health issues, but they don't get passed on a lot, from grandpa or daddy. But they do from the parents. But here's what I'm saying. We got to take responsibility that we can literally pass on these things to our lineage if we don't get them cleared up and taken care of. If you eat McDonald's all your life, you're going to pass that on to your children because it's a physical thing of birth, of conception.
When we know better, we should do better. When you know there is a situation going on in an individual's life, whether it's lineage, whether it's DNA, whatever you want to call it, if you know that that's what's happening, you should care enough for that individual to make a difference.
Last thing, you know how we buy insurance policies?
Yes.
When you raise your children, if you get that Gerber insurance, when it's only $3 or $4 a month or whatever, $15 a month, 20, get it then. We have to live our lives from investing in people and our families that's going to help take care of us when we leave this earth. You come in with a diaper, you might go out with a diaper.
Maybe.
So we have to live and raise our family the best we can to invest in the future. It's the circle of life. So if we come up and we just don't hit it just right, and we're alone in our golden years, that doesn't mean we failed. That does mean that we got what we got. But I'm saying for young people, you gotta build a family. That's what I'm saying. I'm talking to myself here. I should have had about 10 children. Soon as she had the first one, we sitting there talking about, can we afford another one? I would say, shut up. Let's go. Period. I would have had about 10 of them. I rest my case, Your Honor. 51 minutes in the show.
and you took up 50 of them.
No, come on, Mama. You had that monologue when we first started, about 20 minutes.
Okay. So, folks, the whole point of this lesson, the whole point of this show is that we want to just, during this Christmas season, Christmas is 2 days from now, day after tomorrow, Christmas Day. We want you all to know that Coach and I think a lot of you, and we share with you our ideas and thoughts. But the bottom line from this reassurance is to know that, yes, this is the time that Christ was born, but have some joy, because along with Christmas come joyous times. If you can, have a joyous Christmas. Be merry, be healthy, be happy. Know that we love you, and we just wanted to share some things about Christmas season and be happy and knowing just that. Because we are out of time, I want to say Merry Christmas to everybody. Merry Christmas, and do enjoy yourselves and be safe out there. Father God, thank you for this time as we continue now to lead and talk about other issues as they come forth. We love you, Lord, and thank you for this season. Thank you for those who are here, and thank you for being who you are in our lives with this show. Amen.
All right, Awesome Radio Network, WECU 1570 AM 107.5, and one more, WNOS 1450 102.3 in New Bern. All right, love you guys to life, and see you next time.